Well, with fewer than 4 days to go now before $85 billion in automatic spending cuts, President Obama is warning that they will be crippling. But our next guest says, look, the president can do much more to diffuse the impact of those cuts by using what's called transfer authority. It's interesting. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano joins us now to explain.
The first thing that needs to be explained, my dear colleagues and friends, is that these are not spending cuts. They're a reduction in the amount of increase. So instead of spending going up like that, it's going to go up like that.
That's a very important point.
The federal government will spend more money even with the sequesters in 2013 than it spent without them in 2012. So that we need to know. So we're not talking about the president firing or furloughing soldiers or TSA workers or FAA air traffic controllers. We're talking about him hiring fewer of them. So can the president, let's say the military each of these cuts is about 2% per department. So let's say the Pentagon needs, we'll round off these numbers, 100 new soldiers. Is he limited to hiring 98? Of course not. He can hire the full 100, but hire less somewhere else, like maybe janitors at West Point or in the Pentagon. Not to pick on the Pentagon and not to pick on my friends at West Point. But the point is the president has executive authority to make sure the government works properly. In fact, he's required to make sure it works properly. His oath says he promises faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States. That word faithfully is in the Constitution, and it's in his oath to make sure that the government works, that he doesn't use government agencies to harm his political opponents and help his political supporters.
Can you argue that every president along the way has not acted faithfully because they're all in it for their own political gains, for their political party, and they're not always making decisions based on the good of the country?
I'll tell you this, Ashley, if the President of the United States of America furloughs a sufficient number of TSA agents so that we have to wait 5 hours in line to get to the airline, or furloughs soldiers so that our defenses are weakened, he can be impeached because he will be violating his oath faithfully to enforce the laws. His job is to make the government work. And if he has to cut something, he should cut something that is not an essential core of what we hire the government to do, like keep us safe from the enemy and make the airlines work in the skies.
What's your take on these doomsday warnings from the president? He's making one public appearance after the other, talking about it's very much politics as usual. It's not business. I think this is the point that you're making, right? That if you let the agencies make the decisions, I think your words were the back office to know where the pork is versus the headliner. You know, we have this sense that we are going to have fewer flights and less meat inspection right away, and it's going to be devastating. And the president's using scare tactics almost. These
fears are grossly exaggerated. This is less than 2% on the dollar. So instead of getting $100 in increase, these departments will get $98. Geez, how are they going to spend it? The same wasteful ways that they've spent everything else that they've gotten. Look, the government is too big, too fat. We rely on it to do too much. This is a minor, insignificant belt tightening, but it's a step in the right direction, and it needs to begin. The debt is now $16.6 trillion. How are we going to pay that back?
Not in my lifetime.
Not in anybody. Maybe not even God's lifetime.
Judge Napolitano, Judge, thank you so much.